So you played for Deion. What was that like?
He's somebody I could say I can relate to. Somebody who's been through all the trials and tribulations, but still stands up, never gave up, and still came out on top. That's a role model to me. I remember traveling shelter to shelter, being homeless for a small amount of part of my time, but it still pushed me to this day to go as hard as I need to go in football to be able to take care of my family and my loved ones. At HBCU, you gotta work for everything. I ain't gonna lie. You gotta go out there and get it yourself. It ain't gonna be handed to you. It's a big difference, but I love the grind.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Echoes of the Yard. My name is Kendyl Terrell, your host, a soccer player at Jackson State University, and this podcast is dedicated to all things HBCU. From the guests to the topics, the good, the bad, we're here to talk about it all. For the fifth episode, I'm excited to have Rico Powers from one of the best HBCUs, in my opinion, Jackson
Defense.
State, a football player. Thank you. So let's just jump right into it. Where you from? Like, tell everybody where you're from, how you were raised, give us a little bit of insight on what brought you to where you are today.
Well, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I'm 22 years old. Um, I'll always love football. I've been playing football since I was 4, so that's probably why I'm still playing it right now to this day. But I love it. So
So, why did you start football? Like, what would you say your reason why is the reason, you got into your sport?
I would say because of my mom, she introduced me at a young age. So, and ever since then, I just ran with it. Like that's all I've been loving to do, honestly, since I've been young. The only thing I had passion for real. So.
Is football like an escape for you? Because I know soccer is an escape for me. So, do you turn to football when you going through a bunch of stuff and stuff like that?
Definitely,
Yeah.
like when I'm playing football, it's definitely a clear space of mind. Like when I'm on the field or when I'm just doing anything with football, it's my happy space for real. That's what I'm most happy at. And when I'm just smiling and joking, and I'm also it's like another family when I'm with my brothers. It's like a brotherhood, you know. I'm pretty sure you know it's your
I
soccer
love
team.
that. I love that. I love that. So tell me about your childhood. I know you went through a lot growing up, and if you're comfortable, I definitely would love to for you to share your story because I feel as though a lot of people would relate to that. So if you could tell me about your childhood, like the struggles you faced, the obstacles you had to overcome, I definitely think it would be really good for.
I really think how I grew up, that's where I get my ambition and my demeanor from. I grew up really kind of rough and poorly. I remember traveling shelter to shelter, being homeless for a small amount of part of my time. But when Mama was able to get on her feet, she was just able to take care of me, give me the things I need and not the things I wanted. But it still pushed me to this day to just go as hard as I need to go in football to be able to take care of my family and my loved ones who took care of me. So
I love that. So, do you have any siblings? Do you think you're like a role model for any of your siblings? Do you have any?
I have 4 younger brothers. I'm the oldest out of all my brothers, so I feel like I'm definitely their role model. They definitely look up to me, but they still make the same bad decisions I made. So I don't see where they learning from. You feel me? So
So when did you realize you were good enough to play football in college? What was the turning
um,
point for you?
I really say probably my sophomore year of high school. That's when I started getting all my offers, pretty much, and that's when I knew it was real for me. You know, college coaches coming up to you in school, asking you getting out of class, all type of stuff. It was just a crazy reaction, and I say definitely seeing Kirby Smart like fly his helicopter to my school. That was a crazy experience. That was a
That's
crazy.
actually insane.
That was crazy right there. I'll never forget that.
So what was your recruiting process like when you did get to that point where you had to make a decision where you wanted to go?
Man, it was that story is crazy too because I was getting in trouble as well. So it was like my stock was going up and down, up and down. Schools was still strong with me, but they just knew I had a little problem going on, and they just wanted to know if I was gonna be able to overcome that when I came to college. And I felt like I pretty much did a little bit, but I ended up choosing South Carolina because it's pretty much was closest to home out of all my schools. Like out of my top 5, I had Georgia, South Carolina, Auburn, Nebraska, Oregon, and I think Purdue. So and I just chose South Carolina because I knew I was gonna be on the field early, and it was closer to home. So I was able to get all my family down there to watch me play.
I love that. So tell me more about your experience. Like, give me a little insight on South Carolina. Like, how was it for you? What was it like stepping onto the campus, becoming a college athlete? Like, what was the biggest change from going to high school to college? Like, what was that like for you?
I would say the business part of it, I would say pretty much like you have to really like understand what you're there for, what you're trying to accomplish, and your why. But I would say for as far as me going into college, I was just so immature. Like, I was just so immature. I didn't really understand what I wanted and what I wanted to get out of it. So I would say that pretty much the business part, and just on how much free time you have, you got to be able to manage your time. So if you can manage your time wisely, I feel like you'll be okay, and just make sure you're around the right people who got your best interest.
Yeah, did you ever get like caught up in like the party life? I know when I first got into college, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm finally free in the sense." But like, did you find yourself like falling like victim to being in the party life, like loving like the attention and stuff like that? Was that one? Do you
Yes,
think that's one of the biggest things you struggled with at first?
yes, early. That and being around the wrong people, that would kind of mess me up. Yeah, so that was the biggest point.
So, how did you end up at Jackson State? Tell me about how you got to your HBCU.
Well, before I even knew about Jackson State, so I was playing football at South Carolina with Shiloh, and after he left South Carolina, he had went to Jackson State to play with his dad, Deion, of course. So after I kind of found myself in a tough situation at South Carolina, I still weren't overcoming my obstacles, so I just felt like it was best that I just start over somewhere else, and my coaches felt like that as well. So just sitting back, just really thinking and just focusing on becoming a better person, better player for myself. Jackson State just popped up. I was able to get in contact with Shiloh, and he was telling me how he interested in me, and Dion is his brother is too. They're interested in me and coming to Jackson State. So I told him I'd think about it, and eventually they gave me the opportunity.
I love that. So, like, hearing that it was an HBCU, like, did you get a positive or like the first thought in your mind was negative? Like, what were you thinking when you heard like Jackson State was an HBCU?
There was so much stuff going through my mind. I ain't gonna lie. It was so I felt it was positive though, just cause I wanted to always play in front of my culture, play in front of my people, and I always wanted to know what that felt like. So I felt like that was always gonna be a positive. I felt like the negatives part was the things that maybe they were lacking that PWI don't lack, as in resources. I was also worried about classroom, like study hall, my tutors, was it gonna be the same? Was I was gonna get the same treatment as I was at South Carolina? I was worried about all those stuff, pretty much.
So did you think like South Carolina basically babysat you like compared to Jackson State, or what was like the biggest difference for you like coming from
Yes.
Power 5 to an HBCU, knowing how like they give the stereotype to HBCUs, like they don't understand that we genuinely have raw talent here, but just because we're at HBCU they overlook us. So what was the biggest difference between the Power 5 and the HBCU?
Yeah, HBCU, you gotta work for everything. I ain't gonna lie. You gotta go out there and get it yourself. It ain't gonna be handed to you, and you're not gonna be treated like you're not gonna get
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so it's like it's a big difference. But I love the grind, and I feel like that came from my background. My demeanor, my ambition. Like I say, just coming up rough. So I always felt comfortable being where I'm at here. So I
Yeah,
feel like
I think being at Jackson State like really showed you like the humbling experience. Like you go to somewhere that does have all of that, but then going to Jackson State reminds you of how you were raised. Like for me at least, everything we were worked for. I'm the youngest of four, so it's just like okay, the grind is nothing new to me. It's just back to like your stomping grounds, back to feeling like you're at home. Just you just got to work for everything you want. But when did you first notice the resource gap between South Carolina and Jackson State? Like the resources that you had at South Carolina and the ones we have at Jackson State? When did you realize the gap?
actually when I came to visit, I seen it right away when I came to visit. Like the locker room, the facility, totally different. It's totally different. Not saying that Jackson State doesn't have a nice facility because we actually do. Probably have the best in HBCU, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Oh, for
it's just a
sure.
it's just a big difference in those buildings. Honestly, that was the big difference. But if you have the same mindset, you're gonna get to the same goal.
I like that. I
Like
like
that.
that. So like in hindsight, was there anything like at South Carolina that you like took for granted at the time
Yes.
and missed once you got to JSU? Can you elaborate on that? Like, what was the
Yeah.
biggest thing that you think you took advantage of, like took
I
for
feel
granted?
like everything. I feel like everything because I honestly didn't know how good I had it until I came to a HBCU.
Hmm.
Honestly, I feel like PWI they just give you the best just best resources to put you where you want to be. But don't give no bad on HBCUs because honestly you can still make it out of HBCU school. It's just literally all up to you and what you want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I definitely think it's all about your networking, like who you know, who you talk
That's
to,
it.
who you get in contact with. And I think being like, I'm also someone that's come from not just the HBCU. Like, it took me a minute to get to my HBCU, but I wouldn't change it for the world because it's like
Nah.
made me the woman I am today. So it's
Mhm.
like, how much have you changed in the last few years at JSU? Like, what do you think, like, you saw the biggest difference in who you are as a person right now?
I feel like I changed a lot as a whole, honestly. I feel like coming here humbled me and it taught me and showed me things that I needed to see. It also put me in a position that I needed to be in so I could understand, okay, when I do get to where I want to be, I know how to control it and I know how to like move when I get there. So I feel like I
Yeah.
definitely needed this. Like this was a stage in my life that I needed.
Do you still feel as though like you made a couple mistakes that you had to bounce back from? Like, do you think you still had to go through stuff to also develop into the player you're trying to be in the upcoming year?
Yeah, I definitely do. As long as I learn from my lessons, that's all that matters. I feel like I never take a
Exactly.
loss. Yeah.
Yeah, as
It's
long as you just
never,
don't dwell. Don't dwell in your mistakes.
because really, as long as you never give up, you're going to always win. It's always in your
Exactly.
favor.
I like that. So you played for Deion. What was that like? Because people have a lot of opinions about Coach Prom. As former player, what do people get wrong about him that you think?
That he's I wouldn't say he's cocky. If you honestly be around him and you know him, that's just him. That's what makes him him. That's what makes him Prime. Like that's just him. Nobody's gonna never change him. So I don't look at him as cocky. He's just an overly confident person, and I understand why. I mean, he's somebody I can say I can relate to. Somebody who's been through all the trials and tribulations, but still stands up, never gave up, and still came out on top. That's a role model to me. And not even just that, how I look at him, I don't even look at him as a coach. Because it's like him playing for the Falcons. I'm from Georgia, so it was like my dad, my mom's a fan of him, so I always heard of him, but I never like really watched him. So
Yeah,
when I finally got the chance to like meet him and be around him, like, okay, now I actually see like what the hype was about and who he was. Cause like I said, I don't look at him as a coach. I look at him like he's the best player that ever played the sport that I'm trying to play for as long as I can. So it's
I
different.
love that. So, like, what was that feeling stepping onto the field? Like, I know how our fans get for our football team. So, like, what was that like in the games you played while being coached by Prom? Like, how was
Man,
that?
it's an unmatched feeling. I can't even tell you that PWI is is more exciting because playing for Dion was just it was like a movie. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like we had everything you need. We had the fans, we had celebrities, we had the players, the coaches, the swag, the vision, the everything, the
Literally,
cameras. So it was like everything that PWI had. He provided it for us, and he just wanted us to know that it don't matter where you come from, uh, you can you know you can both get it at the same.
I
It's
love
just
that.
all.
So, like, so as a player, like, I'm so curious, what is your game day ritual? Like, what do you do? Like, you getting ready for game day? Like, I'm the type of person, like, I don't like to touch my phone. I do not
Yeah.
like when people ruin my game days. And, like, you've been to some of our games, so it's just kind of like, nah, like, when I'm on the field, that's it. It's me versus everybody. So, like, what is your go-to ritual for your game? Like, what do you do?
Um, I definitely just wake up and just relax for a little minute, take in all the moment. I say, and then just bond with my teammates. You know, we have team dinner, so I bond with them. You know, laugh, joke with them, but also let them know like it's getting closer to that time. Like it's go time. You know what I'm saying? So, but
Yeah.
after I eat dinner with them, I'm by myself. I'm isolated. Like I just need time to think and just to focus and lock in. I might go over my plays, but I pretty much don't because I feel like if I go over my plays, it's gonna make me nervous. And I
Yeah.
ain't I ain't never nervous. I just need to walk in and handle my business. So,
See, like
I
that's where we're different.
yeah,
Yeah, because like I'm the type of person like I don't know why like I still get anxious after all these years of playing, but once that whistle blows, I'm fine. Like I'm fine. I'm locked in on the game, but it's just like I get anxiety for the game. I'm just like, okay, I need this to start. I need this to go because like it's like the
it's just the
anxiety of
butterflies.
wanting
Like
to
you
play.
just
Yeah,
ready. I feel like you just ready. I get like that
yeah,
too.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
feel like we've been doing it for so long. It's not really nerves because we've been doing it for so long. You know, it's just like,
yeah.
man, we just ready to display what we can do. We ready to display our talent
Yes.
for the world. You know, I swear, it's that alpha
So
driving us.
do people often mistake like your passion for the game for like anger or cockiness? Like, do you also
Yes,
feel
all the
that
time,
like you've been
all the
misjudged?
time.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, any experiences you've had?
I could just say last year, I was suspended the last 5 games. I felt like it was wrong, but I could have avoided that. I could have made better decisions. I could have went about it a different way than what I did. But when I'm playing football, it's just like I go 0 to 100 real quick. Like my passion
Yeah.
is so here, you know. So it's just like I don't know. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I feel like some people just don't really know how to really how can I say this? Really understand somebody like that or really understand a player when they don't even really know them, you know? So
Yeah. Oh,
some people might take it as like, oh, he's a crash out, he's a hothead. But if you really know me and you really understand, you'll know why. I just
oh
take
no,
it.
I like trust and believe. I know exactly what you go through. I mean, I'm a 6'2" soccer player. You don't see a lot of me, and I think a lot of people confuse my passion for the game for like anger and just like cockiness. And when in reality, I just want it so bad. Like
So
it's just
bad.
all I've known. It's either you do dog eat dog, you survive, you get it done, or you don't. So like for me,
Right.
I think it just people confuse that with like, oh my gosh, she wants to be right about everything or she wants to be the center of attention. No, I just want to win. I don't care how we do it. I
Yeah.
just want to do it, you know?
You know? It is, bro. Like everybody
Yeah,
can if we could win and everybody's doing their job and everybody's satisfied and happy, that's all I want. That's literally all I want.
exactly. And I can relate to the suspension. This last spring, like I won't hide it. I'll be open about it. I was suspended for about 2 weeks. Um, I just I feel as though it's not I wouldn't say, yeah, I think it's really not fair for someone to ask something from one teammate and they try and try and try and people continue to poke a bear and poke a bear and poke a bear. And once the bear just finally snaps to get punished for it, I definitely disagreed with how the whole situation was handled. But I still
Yeah.
could have showed up for my team. And I think that's where I found my faults at. Like, I
Yeah.
walked out, I left the game, and that was definitely on me. I should have just stayed even through my emotions because I have a hard time with like my emotions being controlled by other people.
It sounds like
So
we did the same thing.
yeah, definitely. Like I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like I just packed my shit up and I went out. If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
um, and then so I got basically the short end of the stick. I got humbled. My teammates were like, "No, like you left out on us. Like what do we? How do we know like you won't leave us again or like give up on
Right.
us again or this is that?" But I think they only saw it from their perspective, and it's hard. It's hard to agree with some of their decisions because it's like you don't want to hear me, you don't want to understand me. But that
Mhm.
also goes to like the relation of
Right.
how I was raised and how they were raised. Like some people were raised with both parents. I was raised with one. Like it's hard to get into that sense, but I definitely can relate. So how would you rate your overall experience at Jackson State as a student first? Just a student,
As a
plain
student,
student. Yeah.
oh man. Well, I'm not. Ah man, how can I say this? Cause I'm not really a good student, but I do what I need to do. I do what I need to
You
do
get
to
by. Like
to
you do what
survive.
you have to.
To survive, yes, yes. So I have all online classes, so I don't go to class. You know, I ain't. I've been having online classes for going on 3 years now, so it's been a minute since I just stepped foot in a classroom, you know. But I feel like just being a student here, I say that's fun too. You get to see the experience as well, not only from football, but y'all winning too in soccer. We winning in band. I feel like we winning in everything. Our girls basketball
Everything.
team they doing everything. So I feel like the kids on campus, the students on campus, I feel like they feel good about themselves. Like, you know, they feel like they winning too. Our school winning and everything. And we winning in academics
Yes.
too. So I just feel like overall, like we're a good school, and I just seen we just got nominated for like the best HBCU in tuition. So
We did. And my like one thing about Jackson State is like they are gonna ride for their school. The alumni, the
yes.
students there, like the Jacksonians, they don't play about Jackson State like at all. So I
I
love
would say
that.
one
So
thing about that. I do feel like our alumni is pretty stronger than some PWI alumni. I will say that
oh, for sure. Alumni
for
at
sure. For sure.
HBCUs are like actually insane. Like they are diehard Jackson State fans.
Like,
For
really
sure.
following you up, like every day following you up, for sure.
So okay, now rated as an athlete.
As an athlete,
Hmm.
oh man, ooh, I give it. Man, I give it overall. I give it. Dang, that's hard. I want to give it a I want to give it like an 8.9. A nine. I give it a nine. I give it a nine, man. Playing with Dion too, it's crazy. Like I don't think people really understand how crazy that was. Like it was so surreal. Like speaking with my teammates from that team to this day, like we still talk about it. We wish we could go back into that moment, but we can't, man. So it's just so surreal.
So do you think playing for an HBCU has made college sports easier or harder for you?
That's it depends. It depends. I feel like how politics look at it, it made it tougher for me. But I feel like for me, I feel like I made it easier for myself. I feel like when you come to HBCU, it's not so much pressure on yourself. Like everything's so much serious and it's so much business. And also, maybe because my coaches, maybe because of my coaches, they just related to me better. I'm coming from my coaches, maybe I don't know, but I really don't know. I just say, I feel like politics just make it seem like, we don't, our level of talent isn't where it's supposed to be. But I feel like if you got the talent, they'll come get you from anywhere. You just have to put it on film and show it. I feel like the best
Mm.
dogs really was underdogs too, like Tom
Oh
Brady,
yeah,
Antonio
we love a good
Brown.
underdog.
Yeah, I feel like them the best dogs anyway. So
Yeah.
I
Cause
don't really
like they
feel
know
it.
what it's like to come from the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Mhm.
know what it feels like to fight
So you
their
can
way
only
through
go up.
anything. Yeah. Okay, so before we get to the last question, is there anything you would want to share about your story that you think people should know, or anything about being a student athlete at Jackson State, like that people should know before we get to our last question?
Um, No, I really nah. I don't really think I have too much to say. I really feel like people could really understand me and read me through my play. Like I play hard. I go hard. Why wouldn't I?
Yes,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
so
That's how I
crazy
feel
you
though.
say
Like why
that
wouldn't I?
because that's how I play.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. I don't
I,
feel like other people looking at it how we look at it. Like, but that's how we look at it. Like it's real serious business. Like we
yeah,
need to.
like it's like you get it done or you don't. That's why I feel as though I'll have a good day if we win, but my day will suck if we lose. Like that's just how it
Right, right,
is.
and
Okay,
ready or
so
not.
yes, literally. So our last question is presented by our sponsors, Cricket Wireless. So shout out to Cricket, a proud supporter of HBCUs, culture, and communities. So how has going to an HBCU influenced the person you are today?
A lot. I feel like I made my family proud. Honestly. I feel like I made our culture proud. We need more people like me coming to HBCU, like us. I say definitely, for definitely you as a woman being powerful as you are in your sport. We just need more people like us to come and show the world, show people like, hey, HBCU,
Yeah,
we got the athletes too. We here too. We just need y'all to come support, come
take
check
that
us out.
chance.
Yeah, tune in on us, you know?
Yes, like come experience. Like if you don't like it, okay, you can leave, but like come make a difference. Like people that look like us don't get the opportunities like others do. So just come take that chance and put us on the map. I feel as though that would be so like such an experience they haven't even realized they needed yet.
Definitely, definitely. That's what we need. I feel like Deion, he put a little glimpse on it on us. I feel like we
Oh
just
yeah, for
got it's
sure.
on us to keep
For
it
sure.
going.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Rico. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We've got tons of more great guests, and we'll continue about HBCUs from all angles. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more Echoes of the Art. Thank
Nah,
you.
for sure. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you, Kendall. Thank you for having me.